Welcome to Basic Knots 101. So there are two basic knots to learn for tying ropes for show skiing. And honestly, learning these two knots will take care of about 90% of the ropes that you need to make. Unless you are doing specialty handles or specialty braids, these two knots get you just about everything you need. They look like this. And they're kind of variations on the theme. This is not the absolute, perfect way you have to do this. Each of these knots has different variations that other people might use. But if you learn these two, you're well on your way to, making everything that you need to. From main lines to trunks to leaders to the ends of handles, that kind of thing. These two knots will get you there. One thing that I should let you know is that as I describe each of these knots and how to tie them, I'll tell you what I use them for, and then you need to decide on your own where you think each purpose would be best served. Let's get started with basic knot number one. So what to call this knot? The term I'm going to use in this video and throughout the rest of the videos is kind of the permanent knot. So I'll call this the permanent knot because once you put this in, it does not want to come out, especially after this knot has been used in a rope for, even a few times in the water, but certainly the end of even one season. It's kind of welded in there. Now, this is a brand new tie, so it looks kind of loose. This will weld in super tight, and getting these back out is a major pain in the rear end. So I suggest only using this in a place where you're not going to need to make adjustments later. So what are those places? Well, I typically use them on the end of handle sections. So this is just a 5-foot handle section. This happens to be a doubles handle or a trios handle. And I'm going to put this here because I'm never going to make adjustments on this end again. So I just want this welded in really tight. Other places to use these. Doesn't matter, this is a short 6-inch handle, but this could be a full-size 12 or 15-inch handle for a barefoot line. I'm going to use the same knot at the end of the V here because I want this to cinch down super tight and never move. Because if it slips even a ½ an inch, now your handle won't be straight, it'll be off. And so I also use this permanent knot here. Where else will I use these? I will use these at the end of a main line, the long line for a ski rope, but on the end where the handle attaches only. And I'll put the non-permanent knot, or the one that comes out more easily, I'll put that on the other end towards the boat, and I'll explain why later. But again, this knot, this is the permanent knot. Those are the places that I use it. So, how do we make one? This is just a sample piece of scrap rope, ski rope that I have. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a black mark with a permanent marker. You can use pencil, pen, whatever you like. But I'm doing that at 24 inches. So that is my standard measurement that I use for tying any loop at the end of a rope. I put in 24 inches in case I need to make adjustments later. So that's where my mark is. I do tape when I'm doing splices and fid work and tying knots and that kind of stuff. So it would help if I could get this tape undone. My apologies. Not everybody does it this way. Totally up to you, whatever works best for you. So I've got my fid on there, push the rope in there. I'm going to tape this on really tight, and if you do use tape, you have to smooth it. I'm pulling with some tension. You have to make sure it's very smooth so it doesn't catch later on. All right, how big to make the loop at the end? Well, some people are very finicky. They measure this. I don't. I always eyeball it, but here is my mark. That's going to become the end of my loop. Obviously, we want to make sure this is big enough to get over a pylon or to get a carabiner in here, something like that. And to start out this, you take the carabiner and you shove it straight through where you want the knot to occur. So this is where my knot is going to be. You can see where I've kinked the rope over there. That's going to be the end of my loop. Pass this through, pull through until I have the end of my loop where I want right here. And this is called the tail. So I have the tail hanging out here. I take the tail, which has got my fid. I wrap it once completely around. Try to show this on the end here. Here's my tail. wrap it once completely around, and then I need to shoot down through the middle. Don't let this slide off. This is bad. Keep this wrap all the way around here, and I slide down through the middle, and I'm going to bury it through the hollow portion of my hollow braid ski rope. You want to pass this just beneath where you came through the rope right here. Now again, there are variations on this knot. I've seen it done a number of different ways. Doesn't mean any others are wrong. This is the way that I happen to do it. It's worked very well for a number of years. So, yes, I have some extra rope there, roughly about, 14 inches or so, maybe 15 inches, something like that, of extra rope sitting there that I'm burying. But that gives me some excess in there in case I need to make some adjustments later. I pull this tight, grab the knot itself, push down on it, and that should cinch very, very tight. That's also why we use this knot when we're making handle sections. For the V of the handle, we would use this knot because it'll cinch down really tight pretty much instantly. Couple extra feeds here, pull my fit out. And then by doing that, I let this slide back and it buries itself in the rope. There's my knot right there. And again, this is the permanent knot. Here we go with basic knot number 2. And I call this one the non-permanent knot. I can take zero credit for this. It looks like this. This came from a former member of the Cap City and Mad City water ski teams. All right, and it is a knot that stays in there. We've used this for some really high test, world and national records and stuff like that. We've never had a problem with these. Even though everybody who takes a look at this and sees this freaks out the first time they see it and say, well, that thing's going to slip out and it's going to fall out of there and the rope's going to come apart and everything else. I've never had one of these come out. And I use these on just about everything. If it isn't a handle section, I'm probably using this. A main line, the long part of the ski line going towards the boat, is going to use this knot because I can pull it out later and adjust it if needed. I use this on trunks, on trunk lines. I use this on leaders and leader lines. It's great because it can come out even after being used for 4 or 5 years. While certainly much tighter than this one here, this is a relatively new one, I can still go and get a vice grips. And I can get in here and pull on this piece right here and pull that out. That begins to relax the knot even after years of use. And I can de-thread this and retie it if needed, and make adjustments to it. So, why not use it everywhere? On its initial, when you first make these, so here's the caution, when you first make these, and you're going to stretch those main lines or stretch those trunks or leaders for the first time, you will notice it will slip slightly. And by slightly, I mean, half an inch, maybe an inch. Not a lot. But it does slip a little bit. So I don't use it on handle sections because now those handles then get out of alignment and have to be retied. But everywhere else, this is now the preferred knot that I use. So let's take a look on how to actually make one of these. And by the way, as I mentioned, I use these for just about everything on heavy-duty trunk lines or boat harnesses. Please see that section separately because while I use the same knot, I use a modified version of it to give it a little extra strength to keep from slipping. All right, so here's what we do. I've got just a section of scrap ski rope here. I have made a black mark at 24 inches long. And for pretty much just about anything, trunk lines, leader lines, main lines for ski ropes, I always use 24 inches as my standard measurement for making loops and stuff like that. So we're going to get the fit on here. I'm going to get this taped up, show you how to make one of these. If you decide to tape, make sure that you smooth the tape out, put it on under tension so it's real smooth, doesn't get caught. Find your mark you made. I'm going to kind of pinch that over. Where you make your loop is up to you, however long you want it. That is, obviously you need enough space for a pylon to get through here or a carabiner to get through this loop. So, I pass through, just like I did on the other basic knot, I pass straight through the rope. Okay? Then I pinch not only the top, but I pinch the bottom part together where I pass through the rope right here. And I'm going to take my tail, with the fit on at the tail, and I'm going to pass just above where I came through the rope the first time. So I'm going to hold these together. It makes it easier. I'm going to work my fid right through the middle. And you do want to make sure you're through the middle there. I'm good. Looks like this. Pause, rewind if you need to. And then I'm going to pull that tight. So I pass through, pull that tight in there. Now it looks like that. And then I want to bury this. I come through just beneath here, and then I bury down through the hollow core, or the hollow center of the ski rope. Again, this takes a little bit of technique. You just got to learn how to work this. It's kind of accordion style, and I work this down through the rope until I'm tight. The knot should come all the way tight. I can tug on it up here. Looks like that. Give a little bit more down here, and then I can pull out my fid. There we go. I smooth this all out. My rope buries itself, and now I have the non-permanent knot in there. And again, you can use this for just about anything you need.